Hello, I'm Bernard Norcott-Mahany. I am your instructor in classical mythology this summer. So, uh, if you're watching this, then you're taking the class, I'm assuming. It is on YouTube, so someone might accidentally come across it, but um, that seems sort of unlikely. But I do want to welcome you to the class. Um, the I've been doing classical mythology for quite some time. Um, there are lots of great stories in classical mythology, which is sort of why I have maintained an interest in it over the years. I'm especially fond of the Iliad, and I'm especially fond of Virgil's Aeneid. Those two works especially. But there are other things in this book, other readings that we'll have that also I enjoy. Like every time I get a chance to read it. So um, I think there's a lot of fun stuff in there. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. But it will be, because it's a compressed time period, it will be a fair amount of work. Now the class is not double the the normal class. It's less than that, but it is more than the normal workload for a 16-week class. It is compressed, and so you are going to be expected to do more than you would ordinarily do in a 16-week class each week. That's the key thing. So the book that we're using, just so you know, looks like this. This is Lisa Mauricio's book, Classical Mythology in Context. There are other books on classical mythology. Most of them have the title Classical Mythology or Classical Mythology something else. It would be nice if they came up with like more individualized titles, but that's the book. So do not get any other book. Not that other books are not valuable. It's just that they won't be much use for this class as far as like things like the tests and the discussions. So there are some announcements things that I want to let you know. First of all, on the time commitment, because I mentioned the time commitment. My own feeling is you really can't get through the short-term class with much less than 7 hours a week. So about an hour a day would seem to be like you don't want to go far below that. If you're only putting in like 2 or 3 hours a week, you're not going to get much out of it. You may need to put more time in. That's really up to you. A lot depends on how much time you actually have. And I understand we're all busy, so you can only do what you can do. But 7 hours would seem to me to be a good expectation, at least that. Now, what I would do, in fact, what I will be doing during the class is I will be taking an hour per day and doing what I can. And so, like a typical day is the way I see it is you get a fair amount of reading to do. Would be to read for half hour, 40 minutes, and then make a discussion post, because you're going to be doing weekly discussion posts. They're discussion boards. But each day, if you do that, if you read a little bit and then you make a post, you're going to get through this stuff, I think, easier. You also can take like certain basic notes on what you read. I tend to jot down names. I tend to jot down terms, those sort of things that come up, and then I use those as ways of like to test my memory. What do I remember about those? Now, of course, I've been reading this book for a few years, and I've been teaching the class for some time, so obviously a lot more is going to stick with me than it would with a first timer. But I find that to be helpful. And by breaking it up, I think you get a better chance of actually getting it done. If you tend to do like a crunch, like I'm going to spend all day Sunday just reading, what's going to end up happening is after an hour or so, you're likely to get sort of tired, and then you're going to sort of give up, or your effort won't be that good. So that would be my advice: is like an hour a day, or if maybe an hour and a half a day, if you wanted to only do 5 days of work, so that way you can get your 7 hours or so in. Now, other things. So I mentioned the weekly discussion post. The first assignment that you're going to have beyond the introductory ones where you introduce yourself and where you take a quiz basically on the syllabus and on this video. There'll be a couple questions from the video. Will be weekly. You'll be doing these weekly discussion board posts, right? So I would say that is the key thing overall in learning the material, is doing the reading and doing those posts, and then seeing what other people say and responding to them. And those weekly discussion posts, you're required on those to do 5 posts entirely. So, I mean, you can do more than that if you want, but 5 would be the thing to get, to get full credit. The great thing about it on your grade side, because grades are actually part of the game. I mean, learning is important. To me, that's the key thing. Like, learning stuff, being enlightened is important. But you also are taking the class in hopes of getting a grade, which will look good on your record, right? So that part of it, the discussion boards are the best way for you to do well overall, because you can get full credit. Everything else, you might not get full credit because you miss some answers, or you make some mistakes in what you say. The discussion boards are not really graded other than participation. So this is a great way for you to actually buffer yourself from getting a bad grade in the class. So you will do 3 posts of your own individually. And that's why I said, like, if you read for 40 minutes and then you make a post, right, that might be like your hour. And then the next day you do the same thing, and then the third day you do the same thing. You're going to have your 3 posts in, right? They're already in the bank. You can always make another post if you want, and then you just look at what other people have said and you reply to 2 of them, and boom, you've got that done, right? That's 100% for that. So I urge you to make sure that you get those weekly discussion posts done. That's for me is sort of like a big thing. I've had some people who don't do the discussion boards, and then they don't do some of the other stuff, the day-to-day stuff, and what ends up happening is they think, well, if I do well enough on the test and I do well enough on the essays, I'll do okay. And it's like, maybe. I mean, you may not. You may end up actually failing the class even if you do that stuff. So you do the day-to-day stuff, and I think you will find that you're going to do a lot better overall on the grade. I think you'll do a lot better on learning, because I think people learn better actually in incremental steps. One last thing that I thought I would mention is on the instructional website on Canvas, there is a thing that says announcements. The only real thing I'll probably have in the announcements is there'll be links to audio, sort of video lectures. There's basically slideshows that I've narrated. The text came with slideshows based on the material, and then what I did, I just sort of expanded on those. So like I've got what the Maurizio provided, and then I sort of riff on that. If you are finding that you may not have as much time to get stuff read, or if you're finding that, like, oh, I ordered the book and it's taking longer to get here and you can't quite get the stuff done, one way to cover that for at least the first couple of chapters would be to listen to the lectures. Because you can listen to the lectures, you can take notes on that, you can spend, your hour or so doing that, and then you can also post on that. So that way you're still getting the work done. May not be quite ideal, but at least you're getting something done, and that's a key thing, right? So, and I do have the first reading, Hesiod's Theogony, also in the Canvas, in the modules. The module for chapter 2 has the first big reading we have, which is Hesiod's Theogony. So again, if you don't have the textbook, you can at least read the Theogony. You may not be able to get the other stuff, but the lectures will help cover that. And that way, that's going to at least get you through the first week or so. If as I said, you have the book coming in, and if for some reason it's delayed. All right. Without that, I think I'm going to sort of bid you, good luck in the semester. I hope things go well. you can always contact me through Canvas, and that, by the way, is your best way to contact me. I will reply to that. And I will be opening up the class. I will be opening it up actually on Tuesday. I'll probably open it up on Monday, Memorial Day, but that is a holiday, and I'm not really expecting anyone to do anything. I'll open up the class early so you can get that introductory work done before the class starts proper. That will give you more time in that first full week of the class to get the material done that you have to get done in that first week. So, good luck in the semester again, and I hope you have some fun with the material. I hope you enjoy it. There's lots of interesting and weird stuff in Greek mythology, and we'll be looking at other mythologies as well that I think should entertain you and perhaps enlighten you.